Hello there, I'm back on the Good Enough Mum page, and this week I wanted to talk about the stress that mums are beginning to feel with all the exams coming up. It's Mental Health Awareness this week, and the theme is actually stress, and that got me thinking about it, especially as this morning when I was out walking the dog, I heard a teenage boy getting told off by his mum, and it just reminded me that this can be a really difficult time of year for parents as well as children as they begin to take their GCSEs and their A-levels. And quite often nowadays it seems as though it's exams every single year. They don't just happen like they did when I was younger at the end of the fifth year. It shows how old I am because it's called Year 11 now. But anyway, how do we cope with it? And I think it's really important to think about how our own feelings about exams and about what they're about and about the children and what we expect of them. And I think what often affects us is obviously we do want our children to do really well. And so much seems to hinge nowadays on the results of their exams. And we can get really concerned about how well they're going to do. And perhaps in that concern, we forget that life is so much more than a set of GCSE results or a set of A-level results. And while it's important that they do well in that, obviously it helps them if they've got their exam results, the fact is that it's amazing how well they can do even without very many exams behind their names. And I think a lot of us would be testament to that, in that a lot of us have got through life without having particularly good exam results. But I think what can happen is that often for our children we want them to do better than we have, and we don't want them to suffer in the same way that we suffered. And so we try and protect them from that. And I think especially if you're someone who doesn't feel that they're good enough, this can become almost, not an obsession, that's too strong a word, but a really deep concern of ours, that we should help them as much as possible to do as well as they can. But the problem is, and I'm sure a lot of you will identify with this, is you can take a horse to water it, but you can't make it drink. And certainly my experience with my children, whereas my oldest actually said to me the other day when I said how good they'd been at studying for their A-levels, that was really, he said, a case of, it was the line of least resistance was just to give way to all my nagging and to actually study. But with the second one, that didn't work at all. And if anything, it made that particular child dig their heels in, because they weren't going to be told by their mother as to what they should do. And that's often what can happen. For a start, one strategy might not work for more than one child, if it works at all. And sometimes forcing them to do stuff is actually counterproductive. And so to a certain extent, we have to trust them to get on with it. But of course, in trusting them, we have to let go. And we find it really difficult to let go of our expectations and our need for them to be something, to do something. And that's often about fulfilling what we need. And we have a need perhaps that it's painful for us to watch them going through difficult times, and we want to protect them from that. We don't want them to have to go through a learning process where they fail their exams and they have to resit them, or they fail their exams and then their life chances are affected. But it's their lives, it's not our lives. And what are we doing when we're trying to stop them from suffering? What are we doing when we're trying to protect them? Are we in fact stopping them from really being able to learn that they're going to be able to cope whatever happens, and to learn that they can have resilience, that they can get through stuff, and that even if they didn't study hard enough for their GCSEs, they can take them again. It's a hard lesson, I'm not denying that, it's really difficult for them. You know, it's hard to get the results and to look at the sheet of paper and to think, oh crap, you know, I've done really badly. But that feeling is what will drive them on to do better. And are we in danger of protecting them from themselves and not learning life's lessons? And if we do that, how is that going to affect them in the long term? How will it affect their confidence? It's lovely if they can sail through their exams, but a lot of children aren't like that. And they do need to go through a process of learning. And they do need to perhaps to learn that perhaps they're not academic, but that's okay, and that they can still do well in other areas. And what they need most of all from us is our support, I think, and our unwavering belief in them that they will be able to do well in whatever way their particular skills lead them. And it's really important at this point to think about our values and actually what's important to us. I mean, really and truthfully, do we value academic achievement too much? Or do we have other values that perhaps we're losing sight of? Perhaps what we really want for our children is that they learn to be self-sufficient, they learn to be independent, they learn to be responsible, they learn to be kinder to other people. And those values don't necessarily need exam results. And so it's quite helpful to sort of consider to ourselves sorry, I've lost my train of thought there. It's sort of helpful to consider to ourselves, you know, why am I getting so het up about a set of exams? There's lots of other aspects of life that are important. And also to remember that, you know, our children do actually have good stuff in them. You know, we're not, although we might think we are, we're not hugely bad parents. You wouldn't be watching this video if you were a bad parent. And so, you know, we have put stuff into our children and we can rely on them to do the best that they can. And so that's what I'd like you to remember as you're trying to deal with the stress of exams, is that, you know, you can trust your children, you can trust yourself, you are okay, you're doing the best job that you can. It is difficult and it, you know, it is hard, and we do need to take time to look after ourselves at this time so that we can offer the children the support that they need, but also to sort of empathise with ourselves and our own struggles. But the fact is that there's a lot in us that's really good and that it will come good in the end. Okay, I'll leave that there. It's going to be in my blog this week, all about dealing with exam stress and different ways that you can help yourself. And if you've enjoyed this video, please like and share it. Thanks very much. Bye.